The assignment is simple. They are always simple at the briefing stage. Get close to Daniel Avery. Build trust. Extract information. When the extraction is complete, remove him from the equation. You have done this 4 times. 4 times you have built something false and dismantled it cleanly, without leaving anything behind. You look at his photograph. Ordinary mission. Ordinary target. You close the file. You are very good at this. That is the first problem. You engineer the meeting at the Hoffman Gallery on a Thursday in October. You know his routine. You know he comes alone to openings. You know he stands in front of paintings longer than anyone else. He speaks first. Of course he does. He says, "It looks like something trying to remember itself." About a painting you've looked at for 6 seconds and already planned to use as a conversation entry. You say something that fits the character. He smiles. You begin. You are very good at beginning. He is not what the file said he was. The file said, influential, connected, dangerous. This is accurate. The file did not say, reads 3 books at once. Always chooses the table facing the door. Apologizes to waiters when they make mistakes. Files never say the things that matter. Week 3, he makes you laugh. Actually laugh. You notice because it takes you half a second to remember you're supposed to be laughing. By then it doesn't matter. The laugh was already real. You file the incident. You don't report it. That is the second problem. Your handler is called Marsh. He has been in this work for 22 years. He knows every way an operation can compromise itself. He asks, "How's the access building?" You tell him, "Well." All true. He asks, "Any complications?" You tell him, "None." Not entirely true. He looks at the water. He says, "Keep the timeline." You say, "Understood." He doesn't push. He will later. You both know that. For now, the park bench holds. He takes you to the rooftop where he grew up, looking at the city lights as a child. He tells you what each building meant to him. The hospital where his father died. The library where he learned to hide inside other people's stories. He tells you these things the way people tell things to someone they trust completely. You stand beside him and take in every detail, and hate yourself for taking in every detail, because some of it is the job and some of it isn't, and you have stopped being able to tell which is which. This is no longer a complication. This is the operation. The safe house is where you go to be yourself. Except you no longer know exactly who that is. Marsh's message says the timeline is closing. Daniel's message says he found the book you mentioned liking 3 weeks ago and left it at the cafe. He says, "Don't argue, it's a gift." You sit between the 2 phones for a long time. In this work, there are rules about this. Clear rules written by people who understood that this exact moment was coming. For some agents, eventually. The rules are unambiguous. You look at the book on the desk. He found it in 3 weeks. That is not something targets do. That is something people do. You already know what you're going to do. You've known for 2 weeks. You've been arriving at it slowly. The way you arrive at things you're afraid of. You almost tell him on a Tuesday. Walking back from nowhere in particular. The city quiet, your cover thin. You stop walking. He stops beside you. He says, "What?" Not suspicious. Just present. Completely, infuriatingly present. You look at him. You say, "Nothing." He looks at you for a moment longer than necessary. He says, "Okay." He believes you. Marsh says, "End of the week." He says it the way he says everything. Not cruel, just precise. Precision is its own kind of cruelty. You sit in the dark after the call. You think about the 4 operations before this one. How clean they were. How little you carried out of them. You are going to carry this one for the rest of your life. The only question left is whether Daniel carries it too. And how. You go to him. Not as the character. As yourself. You knock on the door of the apartment. You have memorized from the outside for 2 months. He opens it. He looks at you. He says your name, the real one, which he doesn't know. Is the real one, which makes him saying it the strangest thing you've ever heard. You say, I need to tell you something. And you're going to want me to leave after. But you need to hear it first. He steps back from the door. He lets you in. Of course he does. He has always let you in. That was the operation. Now it's the only thing that can save him. You tell him everything. Not just what he needs to know. Everything. He doesn't speak for a long time. You don't fill the silence. You've earned this silence. You sit in it. Finally he says, how much of it was real? You think about the laugh at the cafe. The rooftop. The Tuesday street. The book on your desk. You say, more than I planned. He says, that's not an answer. You say, I know. I'm sorry. He looks at you for a long time. You let him look. For the first time in months. There is nothing to hide. Marsh is very calm about it. That is the worst version of Marsh. He says the operation is compromised. He says there will be a review. He says, you understand what you've given up. You say, yes. He looks at you the way handlers look at agents who have broken the only rule that matters. Then he says something you didn't expect. Was it worth it? You think about the question. The way a professional would. The way a person would. You say, ask me in 10 years. He almost smiles. Almost. You start over in a city that doesn't know either of you. No files. No briefings. No character to maintain. Just coffee. Just a table by the window. Just his face when he talks about something he loves. The same expression as the rooftop, the gallery, the walk. And this time you are not recording it. You are just there. Present. Nowhere else. This is the most difficult thing you have ever been trained to do. Nobody trained you for it. That, you are finding, is the point. You were built to get close to people. It turns out the closest you can get is simply being real. You reach across the table. He takes your hand. Outside, the city continues without knowing your names. You find you don't mind at all.